is moral is testament to the existence of God. I am simply saying that were he consistent with what he professes to believe about ultimate reality, he could not have objective moral values, he could not practice science. No, he borrows rocks from my worldview in order to shore up the sandy foundation beneath his own. He talked about Palm Pilots and microchips. I think that's a totally fallacious analogy. That is a storage device. Right? It's a physical storage device. It contains information. Now the question is, if you were to print up one of the books contained on a small storage device like that, could you account for the meaning conveyed in the book by the biological and chemical constituents of the Palm Pilot? Is meaning physical? Clearly not. Information science is opening up this realm to us. If you're in information technology, there may be carriers of information that are very, very small, even carrier waves, but they are not the information itself. They are not the meaning, the semiotics. The meaning is not exhausted with a description of the chemistry of the paper or the storage device. I think that is a fallacious and even ridiculous analogy, even though it got a couple of laughs. His assertions about morality, again, are also arbitrary. He says morality is based in human life. Well, what does that mean exactly? I'm confused. What does that mean? Whose human life? A cannibal's human life? A Nazi's human life? Stalin's human life? Mao Zedong's human life? Pol Pot's human life? Which definition of human life defines morality? You see, I do believe that ethics are grounded in human life and human experience. That's true, they are. But the structure is God-given. Otherwise, Dr. de Sousa has not shown how we can transcend the isolated I, the subjectivism and relativism inherent in all such assertions about morality. I could just disagree with every single moral statement he makes, and he's got no basis to say, that's wrong. Because it's just the way my chemicals are shaking down and defining morality for me. I'm just a product of the slime, from the goo through the zoo to you. I'm all my moral definitions. Freud said that the basic drive of all human nature is to eat the father and copulate with the mother. That's what a man is. Is that what you are? I've got 3 small children, 7, 5, and 2. I do not see flotsam that evolved rationality. Slime, biochemical machine that can be just switched off and is nothing more than the cessation of a biological machine. But I see real human dignity. I see real value. And I see real moral relationships in culture. And that is the issue ultimately of guilt that drives this whole question. What are you going to do with your personal sense of moral responsibility and guilt? Your conscience, which tells you there are actual ethical norms that transcend your subjective desires, or your relativistic moment that some things really are evil and some things really are good, and inside your own heart aches about these things. Well, Jesus Christ offers the answer to the question of guilt. If you want to talk about Genesis and original sin, I'm happy to do it when I've got a little bit more time. But I don't believe original sin is absurd. I believe that actually the whole notion of sin entering into the world describes and explains the human condition, and once accepted makes entire sense of it. Thank you.
Thank you, member, for his remarks. I now call upon the opposition to deliver a 5-minute rebuttal.
Thank you. Now, these last remarks, Pastor Booth said 2 things as if they were equivalent, but they're not equivalent. He said he didn't try to prove that I didn't exist, merely that I, like every other thinking being, whether we say we're atheists or not, believed in some independent reality. And he seemed to think that that was the same, because he immediately followed it with a statement about, I have to start somewhere when I reason. Now those 2 things are entirely different. Actually, I do believe that there's an independent reality. It's just that it doesn't happen to include any gods. Not the Greek gods, not the Hindu gods, not the Islamic God, and not the Christian God. They're completely unnecessary in this reality. But that certainly does not mean that I have some premise that is the absolute premise of everything I say. Even mathematicians who construct